Welcome to LSF Round 7. The batch throw phase has begun, as have 1x1s. That's pretty exciting. But before we get into this round's extra juicy results, we have a whopping 2 confessionals to read. A literal tree said, "A boogly boogly bibble bobble jillaby jillaby." Koopa said, "Guess who?" Remember that conversation in the server where Leah mentioned that somebody in the competition made it to the alumni deciding round of Concise Trial Gen 2 Season 1 under 2 accounts? Yeah, that was me. So here's SpinFX's story. Long story short, because my original confessional almost doubled the allotted length, SpinFX was originally created for Casabas All-Stars, scrapped, and reintroduced during A Ball's Words of Wisdom. After its cancellation, I joined a couple smaller TWOWs under them, including Concise TWOW, simply to inflate the contestant count. Hell, I'm even hosting a TWOW under SpinFX now, without delays. Very funny, Koopa. Anyway, shoutouts to Nindragon and Crazy Blues. Ooh, tea! Anyway, with that out of the way, we can get started with this round's results. But wait! Before we begin, I actually have a special announcement to make regarding my newest hosting project, and this is the perfect place to plug it. In fact, I made a video ad just for the occasion. Please humor me. Hey, Leah here.
And Claire.
While we have your attention, we'd like to introduce you to the wonderful world of Leah and Claire's totally original, super epic camp.
Like traditional camps, no one will be voted off. Instead, eliminations will be based on challenge performance. Also, there's an HP system to give everyone a fair shot.
And speaking of challenges, we've got quite the array in store. Skill, patience, RNG, art, there's a little something for everyone.
And the best part is that absolutely anyone can sign up. Just join the server linked in the description and apply before Valentine's Day to become an official Lactus contestant.
We look forward to seeing you there. Okay, now we can finally get to the actual 1x1s. Going in last round's placement order, the first responder to place is Fred Something. He had 2 responses, but this one performed better. While this certainly wasn't my favorite response of the round, I did think it was pretty funny to imagine. Let's see what the voters thought. 65%, not bad. Fred snags an average badge and has a good shot at getting a few others too. Nerdigal is up next. This response took a really creative approach with the prompt, and at least in my opinion, it's every bit as funny as Fred's. Boop! That's just a teensy bit below Fred. Nerdy's in contention for pretty much the same badges as him right now. Now we have Clover. I personally think her attempt to cheese the bear badge was very clever, but this response was certainly divisive, and it went all the way around the leaderboard during the cursive voting. Where did it settle? Let's find out. Hmm, 45% is rough. Probably not bottom quarter rough, but still rough. We'll have to see how things shape out for her in regards to badge earnings. On to a literal tree. I'm not so sure about this response. I guess it's a valid approach, but it kinda reads like a throw. Huh, that's really odd. Last round's prizer seems to have formed off into 2 strangely close pairs. I'm not sure what's up with that. Sickdo's up. This response took me a bit to get, but I think it's pretty funny. It didn't go for any particular badges though, so that could potentially be a bit dangerous. Sicto just barely takes an average badge, but it's hard to say if he's eligible for anything else. Adamanti didn't respond this round, so the next person to place is Arnoob. This response is definitely silly, and I'm honestly not sure how to feel about it. Ultimately though, it's not up to me, it's up to the voters. Oof, that does not look good for our front-running friend. But who knows, maybe a miracle can happen. Hailing from the great land of Northern Ireland, Pika Man is our next contestant to place. I know I've said this about a lot of responses, but this one in particular is really funny. I'm curious to see where it ended up. Wow, nice score! Pika Man locks himself in for an alphabet badge and also puts himself in a great position for Trimetallic and maybe even victory. Not a Donut wrote another one of his typical responses. I'm beginning to wonder if he's regressing to a one-trick pony at this point. Nope, he does completely fine. I don't know why I ever doubted him. The Daybreak went for a lot of badges. Perhaps too many badges. I know she tried for Alphabet, Bear, Concise, Drowsy, and Speed. Maybe more. Did all of this tech maxing pay off for her? Yikes! That's a negative. I'm afraid there's no way to sugarcoat that Dawn got last this round. Better luck next time. The next contestant to place is everyone's favorite airplane enthusiast, Don't Trust the Bushes. They made the bold choice to aim for a blood badge this round, which could potentially endanger their chances of earning other badges, whether they actually pull it off or not. In any case, I do think this response was pretty humorous. Do the voters agree? That's looking like a yes! DDDB would actually be in second right now without their 15% penalty, just behind Pika Man, but I suppose trading a Trimetallic badge for a blood badge earns you some swag points. Kudos. Much like Dawn before her, Eternal Rose also chiefly aimed for a lot of badges, particularly Bear and Joowsy. However, I would posit that Rose's underlying concept is a lot stronger than Dawn's. Will she get away with it? Ooh, I'm afraid not. 22% isn't exactly what I would call a high score. Good attempt anyway, Rose. Cyclo has been performing shockingly well this entire season, but will he be able to keep it up in Phase 3? Well, I for one enjoy this response quite a bit, and it is eligible for several badges if it places high enough. Shall we see how it did? Wow, almost 60%! Good job, Cyclo, you put yourself in a great position for round 8. I'll be honest here, ITOD probably has my favorite response of the entire round. There were lots of good ones, but watching his brainstorming process develop into something this funny was a real treat. Of course though, we all know that my opinions don't matter here. What do the voters think? Hey, that's pretty good! ITOD was actually earning the Extreme badge earlier in voting. He had one of the more controversial responses this round, especially for one that placed this high. Now, on to everyone's favorite SMILE veteran, Sergeant Snivy. You were very antsy for results to come out. Let's hope you placed high enough to make the wait worth it. That's a decent score. You're most likely going to be eligible for all the badges you aim for this round. You know, we're looking at a pretty top-heavy leaderboard right now. I'd have to assume that either the DRP's flopped, or we're about to see some lower scores from our upcoming contestants. Let's see if TR can switch things up. He made a valiant attempt at getting both the Alphabet and Concise badges with his response, but whether or not he actually gets to take them home will depend on his placement. Not too great of a score. In fact, that's most likely going to be right around the cusp of the top 75% of responses. Could TR possibly get the straight badge, or has he flown too close to the sun? Nindragon went from the poorest performer in Phase 1 to one of the strongest in Phase 2. One has to wonder which way will her Phase 3 performance will sway. For what it's worth, I do think this response is pretty solid and funny, despite being submitted at the last minute. That's how you do it! Nin, you're going into round 8 in a fairly good position. Mindflex B is another competitor who's been popping off this season. This response wasn't one of my favorites, but I still thought it was quite creative. Also, this provides a prime opportunity for me to tell everyone to watch Gay Steamboat Willie by Big Joel. I promise you, it's worth your watch. That's a pretty mediocre score. Mindflex might not leave this round in a great spot. Next up, we have Koopa. Or should I say Spinifex. This response had an interesting concept, but the pangram felt pretty forced, at least in my opinion. Oh, dang. Sorry, Koopa, but I doubt you'll be scoring many badges with that. Artie, you're up to bat. I had no idea what this response meant until Artie explained it directly, but even still, the wording alone is really funny. Was it good enough to carry her into earning a few badges? Holy controversy! That's just a smidgen under Mindflex, and Artie will earn the Spicy badge with enough responses placed below her this round. Much like her twin brother, Meowie also went for the Alphabet badge this round. I think her response was a lot more effective at including the letters in a natural-sounding way, but that could just be me. How does she rank overall? She snuggles in right between Nerdygal and Nindragon. Pretty comfortable spot if you ask me. Meowie's probably in a decent position after this round. I might be in the minority here, but Avocado's response is goddamn hilarious. I'm so glad I waited a few extra minutes for them to respond, because I burst out laughing when I read this for the first time. Placement aside, Avocado has definitely had my overall favorite responses throughout this whole season. Okay, honestly, robbed as hell. Regardless, that's still probably placing in the top half. On to neutrality, this phase's biggest underdog. This is another response that gave me a big chuckle, but it didn't go for many badges, and I can understand why some voters wouldn't like it. Where did it land? Another solid performance! There are only 3 contestants left to place now. The first of these is Funo, one of our overall best performers, who unfortunately fumbled fairly hard last round. Will he be able to return to his former glory? Well, I for one quite enjoy this response. I think it uses its emoji better than a lot of others did, and the wording is the cherry on top of a pretty solid idea. How does our purple pal do? Extremely fucking well, apparently. Funo is set to earn the Victory, Trimetallic, Platinum, and Extreme badges based off this incredibly high performance alone, and that's not even counting all the ones he gets from Technicals. All I can say is congratulations. Varigold is the penultimate contestant to hop on the 1x1 board, and much like DDDB, they took the risk of aiming for a blood badge this time. I think this response is decently funny, but will it be enough to keep her out of the bottom few spots? Ouch! That has got to hurt. I know things look grim for you, Vari, but I remember what you did in Phase 1. You can come back from this. And if it's any consolation, not taking the blood badge penalty only would have moved you up by 1 spot. And the final player to be revealed this round is Bubble Trumps. They didn't aim for any particular badges, they seemingly just submitted a straightforward response and hope for the best. Hey, any participation is appreciated. So, will they overtake Funo for first place? Will they trump Dawn's position in last? Or, more realistically, will they just place somewhere in the middle? Let's find out. Yeah, that's about what I expected. Good job picking up the average badge, if nothing else. Anyway, that's a wrap on Round 7's 1x1s. I hope you all enjoyed them! The full leaderboard will be accessible in the server once this premiere ends, but for now, here's the stripped down version. Something I need to note is that 2 people's badge earnings, Avocado and DDDB specifically, depend on whether or not Tennille's filler is counted for placement thresholds. Since I never specified one way or the other in the server, I decided to be generous and give them their badges for placing in the top half. I won't be taking any more fillers in this phase to avoid stuff like this coming up again. And before I go, here's a quick look at the badge leaderboard I whipped up to show who's currently in the best position to qualify. If you think I messed up on any of your badge earnings, please let me know. Funo is unsurprisingly in the lead with 7 badges, running far ahead of the pack, but there's still plenty of time for that to change. It seems like winning is the best strategy, who could have guessed, but going for technicals certainly doesn't hurt either. I'm excited to see how things shift around in the remaining rounds of this phase. With all that said, this is Leah signing off. See you in round 8!